Welcome to the third episode of Jack's Corner. It's me, Jack. With me is a returning guest, Twisted.
Hello, I'm back, I guess.
Yeah, he's back, and we got a new guy here this time. Actually, it's someone I've known for like almost a year now. I talked to. He's probably the one person I talk to the most on Discord. Introduce yourself, Catbit.
Hello, my name is Catbit. I am an artist. I've done art. I've known Jacob for like a year now, thanks to two podcasts that may or may not be dead by this year, Smelly Boys and Good Boys.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're both dead.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I've never heard of that, and
Trust
I
me, you
don't know
should
how to
be.
feel about that.
Trust me, you should be glad you don't know about those two.
Look, well, Good Boys was decent for the most part.
The problem is its host was a piece of shit.
Yeah, he was. But anyway, I'm doing a new thing this time. I'm trying to see if me having more than one other person to talk to can probably lead to less gaps in the conversation. But anyway, today we're doing another basic topic. This time we're doing a roundtable thing where we're all sharing like unpopular cartoon opinions we have. I'm hoping that we can have like a short little discussion about each, whether or not we
Yeah,
agree or just like want to like yell at each other.
we're
But
gonna be easy peasy today.
yeah, this is great. This is gonna be pretty pretty fucking easy. So I'm gonna like fuck. Okay, so I've got like screen share on, and I got like all of our opinions written down so we could like share them. Twisted's going first. I'm going second, and Cat's going last because that's how I was able to determine it via that fucking wheel thing. I hate everything uses. So, Twisted, why don't you
All
start with your
right,
first thing?
I'm gonna start with my first. Honestly, I don't even know if this is an unpopular opinion, but fuck it, I'm gonna place my bet. Um, Blue from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends is a good character, and it makes me mad that everyone's all like, "Yeah, Blue's such a fucking dick. He ruins the entire show." No, Foster's is not just about Blue, but whatever. But even then, like I like Blue. I think he's funny. I mean, I get the whole like. I mean, the fact that he's like an asshole, like it's part of the joke, you know. I will admit that over the course of the series, he did kind of devolve. Like when you compare Blue from the sixth season with the one from the first season, they're like completely different people. And I will agree that he did become more dickish. I mean, the fact that he like became more dickish isn't necessarily the problem. The problem is just how he's somewhat unrecognizable from the first season, and that's something I will agree. But like, even then, like I still think that for the first four seasons, he was pretty funny. He's not my favorite character of that, but I still think he's relatively well written, and I think people give him too much flack.
Honestly, I kind of agree with you on this because, well, to be honest, like, let's just say it. I'm gonna say this out loud. Like, asshole characters honestly make a show good. And to be honest, like, Blue isn't really that insufferable. I honestly don't understand like why people go up in arms thinking like Blue is such a terrible character. He ruins the show and everything. It's like I don't know. This is just like my personal views. It's like again, it's like just because Blue is an asshole doesn't mean he's a terrible character. Like sometimes its asshole like ways does bring out some good jokes from the show and such. Like one of my personal favorite episodes was the episode where Blue decides to stay at a retirement home and starts as an excuse to be lazy and shit.
Yeah, I think like
Yeah.
the argument against it comes from episodes like the one where he throws like Mac a surprise party just to humiliate him.
Again,
Honestly, I thought that was kind of funny. I
I,
mean, I don't know. Like, it seemed kind of like the type of thing that like close friends would do, like sort of digging with each other. That's kind of how I perceived that episode. Yeah, it was exaggerated, but it's Foster's.
exactly.
Most of
It's
the
like
things that happen there is like exaggerated.
And exactly, it's like real friends do that to each other. Like they pull pranks on each other. Like if you were a real best friend and you wouldn't do that, that doesn't make you friends. That makes you mutuals or something. Hell, it's like me and Jacob riff on each other almost all the time when we're in calls and such. So that's a good example of what good friends are.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
Mac would call Blue an incel. Or no, no, or would it be the other way around? I don't fucking know.
I think it'd be the other way around.
Yeah,
Also, while we're on the subject of Blue, I know I'm kind of cheating here a little bit, but I also don't think Bandy is that much of a bad character either. Now,
Ah,
I do think that episode wasn't very good, but I think the scenes with Blue and Bandy were pretty funny.
yeah. I mean, I'm gonna say this like Blue, depending on the writer, can be really funny or like pretty annoying. Like one of
mhm.
my favorite Blue moments was the one where he pretended to like be that guy. Like when him and all the like that one episode where him, Mac, and those other two dudes had a crush on Frankie, and they all like got together to like pretend to be some guy, like trying to like
Yeah,
distract her from her date. Like that voice he put on as Orlando Blue, that was like really funny. And to
one
be
of the best episodes.
and even then, like there are other episodes where Blue does like get his comeuppance, like the one where he's stuck at that like a sewing store with Madame Foster.
Mhm.
Like, no, like, dude, he always gets his comeuppance. Like every single episode where he's sort of like the center of the story and he acts like a dick, he always gets his. Like, remember that episode where he was I think he broke this, like, I think it was like a pig toy or something like that, and like he spent the entire episode trying to like um I I don't think I remember very well that episode, but I think he was like trying to fix it before everyone could find out. And before he broke that toy, he was like being a dick to everyone there, especially Eduardo, which those scenes were pretty funny. I'm sorry, but I thought they were funny. And in the end of the episode, he got his comeuppance.
Like when you
Exactly.
say he broke a toy, I'm thinking you're talking of the episode where he broke that bust of Madame Foster.
No, that's another episode.
Man,
Blue was
Besides, it's
actually
like
not that much of a dick there.
to
It
be
was pretty
honest, it's
funny.
like I'm gonna say this. It's like it's basically a rule in animation. It's like if you have an asshole character, they have to get their comeuppance at the end. It's like if you don't do that, then it's not gonna be funny. And it's like, and I'm sure you're got. And it's like I haven't seen that much of the Cramp Twins, but from what friends have told me, yeah, it's really insufferable. Like the asshole just always gets away at the end for
God,
no
I
reason.
don't even remember the Cramp Twins that well, even
I
though I
I
saw it a shit
remember that
ton.
show. To be honest, I didn't even like Lucian, so nah, didn't really make much of a difference.
Yeah. So I guess like we're all pretty much in agreement that Blue isn't the most insufferable character in animation, much less in Foster's.
Exactly.
Yeah, and again, that's not to say that I think he's my favorite character. I don't even know if he's like at the top 5, but I don't know. I think that in general, he's fun to watch.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I guess it's my turn now. This one I don't know what you guys will think, but I'm just gonna say it. The earlier seasons of South Park are better. I feel like they get a bad rep from not only just fans, but from Trey and Matt because of how crude they are. But I kind of find them a lot more charming than what later seasons would do. Sure, sure they relied on like topical events, which is something that like the later seasons would pretty much become notorious for. But I think that like not I think that like they were able to like exploit the surrealness of the show a lot better, like and
Mhm.
have like really weird plots. Like that one time, like Officer Barbrady wanted to learn how to read, while at the
So
same
like
time, well, like solve like this crime of like who was like fucking chickens or
yeah, I saw that episode last night.
and like and I also kind of like the rougher animation. Like they're still like using CG, not like Maya, but it's honestly a lot cruder. There's like a lot more editing that like they employed, and I kind of like I don't know. I just kind of like that aesthetic. It kind of sucks that like every episode was remastered in HD, so it just looks all uniform. But I also kind of liked when South Park would like provide like controversial morals to like in their earlier seasons, like that episode where they basically say big business is good, small business is bad, and even
Or how
like
about that episode? There's that other episode where the moral of the story was that being a bigot is like a good thing.
I remember. I think what was that one thing? Like I remember. Shit. I remember how like the time like Charles Manson got arrested. Like he learned the true meaning of
oh
Christmas,
yeah,
and it was all thanks to seeing Kenny get shot.
or
Yeah,
there was that one time when like the boys learned what like tried to learn what a lesbian was.
Or in one of the ones that I saw a couple minutes ago with the phonics monkey, like like if you don't let your daughter learn about love at a young age, she's gonna become a prostitute.
Yeah, I mean like I'm gonna
I
I'd say the earlier seasons were just as risky with their stuff. Like one of the very first episodes was all about like gay tolerance at a time when that was very rare to see in like a mainstream TV show. Like it took The Simpsons of like a few seasons to actually get around to having a gay character, but in one of South Park's very first episodes, they have Big Gay Al.
Is that the one about the gay dog? I actually, because
Yeah.
like my experience with South Park is somewhat limited. I've seen some the earlier episodes. I've also seen a decent amount of the later episodes. I will say that I don't really have a favorite because I do value both of them. I think that I mean, granted, I do think that when South Park tries to be like a like overarching when they're trying to have like these like big arcs, I do think that the show falls flat. But in regards to like the sort of political nature of it, I actually do like it. I wouldn't say that I like it more than the earlier episodes of South Park because I do also like South Park when it doesn't really try to be that political and it's just trying to be like incredibly zany and stupid. So I think those episodes are really funny too. I also really like episodes where they center on the relationship between Kyle and Cartman because I love both those characters and I love when they're interacting with each other because I think it's really funny.
Oh God, you
And
love
yeah,
Cartman.
yeah,
Don't
I
be
love
like
Cartman.
no. It's like we. I remember the one time Chris Chan considered Cartman the only good character of South Park.
Jeez, I wonder why. But yeah,
So
like
like yeah, I think I kind of agree with you. I will say that I'm a bit more indifferent here because again I haven't really seen that many episodes of South Park for me to have like a strong opinion. But I will say that I have seen a lot of the earlier episodes, and I was surprised that people think that those episodes were bad because I thought they were funny. I don't know.
I guess like as the show started to take itself more seriously, people started to respect it more though. I'd say the peak of the show's popularity was those first 4 seasons when like the show was deemed as radical, and if you wore t-shirts of it at school, you could probably get suspended. But
Hmm.
like one complaint I have about like the later seasons, besides how heavily topical they get, is the writing sometimes makes it feel like a preschool show. And not
Hmm.
like the subject matter, but more or less just like what each episode has. Like, so in the in the season 15 like two-parter, You're Getting Old and Asperger's, they do this bit where Randy becomes like this like guitarist, I guess this like fucking lounge guitarist. He basically just shits, and then like one of the the bar patrons is like, who's that? And then the other guy's like, wow, that's Steamy Ray Vaughan. And then the first guy's like, ain't he the guy who died in that plane crash? And then, no, that's Stevie Ray Vaughan. This here's Steamy Ray Vaughan. Like, they have to explain the fucking joke. And it's like really grating. I fucking hate that shit.
Hmm.
Yeah, some of the jokes do drag out.
Yeah, but it's like again, it's just personal preferences, and besides, like you said, like I remember you telling me that Jacob, that you stopped watching South Park by season 19 because of PC Principle and such.
Well, that,
Where
and
you're
also I just stopped watching TV in general. I don't know, like for some reason I could foretell that the show becoming more serialized with its seasons was not a good move. Them trying to be a Netflix show just was like a fucking mistake, especially when season 20 came and that whole thing where like Trump gets elected just fucked the storyline.
Yep, that was a
Mhm.
disaster. It really
I haven't.
fucked up their plans because they did like they expected Hillary to be president, so Trump being elected ended up making them like completely rewrite their arc. Yeah, it's pretty weird.
I do wonder what could have been had like Hillary actually won. What their story arc would have been
I
like.
think what would have been better is they just like wrote outcomes for both, for like if each person was elected, like they had a Hillary storyline and then a Trump storyline, then they wouldn't have had to deal with that shit.
Exactly. Just be prepared in case one or the other happens. It's like what happens with a lot of TV shows. It's like they're so camped on seeing what their favorite president win. Like when it doesn't happen, it's like they have to rewrite everything. It's like it always becomes a damn mess at the end.
Yeah, but I guess like with South Park, that my thoughts are like they were like as poorly explained as possible. But I guess we can move on to cats now.
I mean, can I at least give my thoughts on why, season 22, it's like it feels like a step back to like the older episodes of South Park, but I don't know, maybe that's just me being pop. I don't know. It's like I don't know how to describe it. It's like I'm more open to shows changing their formats and such. I don't know why, but it's like if it's done right, then I enjoy it. If it's done poorly, then I'm not gonna watch it. Like what you did, Jacob, when season 19 introduced PC Principle and such.
Well, it wasn't that I really hated season 19, it's just I didn't really care about it. Like, PC Principal, at that time, I probably would have found him funny, but now I just, like, it just makes me eye roll.
Okay, so all right, so my opinions. Okay, season 9 to 11 of SpongeBob is incredibly overrated in my opinion because the amount of nostalgia pandering just gets on my nerves. Like there are so many times like they just copy and paste a lot of visual jokes from the first 3 seasons, or repeat some of the jokes from one of the first 3 seasons, Or worse yet, they would actually plagiarize some clips from the first three seasons and pass it off as something new. And it just pisses me off because, like, one, this is just lazy, and second, well, it's not original. It's just like, again, it feels like it's nostalgia pandering, and it just annoys the hell out of me that people online just think that this makes these new seasons good just because they're nostalgia pandering, when in reality they're not. Again, it's like, I don't understand why people consider these new seasons of SpongeBob as good as the first three seasons when in reality they really aren't.
I honestly feel like they do because like it's we've gone like a decade with just a SpongeBob that has ranged from mediocre to just plain goddamn awful. And to see like episodes that on the surface look all shiny and new might have probably made people like say, "Oh, SpongeBob's comeback." But like I can probably attest that like them referencing all of these like season 1 to 3 jokes more or less is just lending credence that those seasons are the only seasons of SpongeBob that were good, and that will only matter. That 9 to 11 is just paying homage to them because like that just gets attention.
Hmm. But what about those times like people would just screen cap or put a clip of from a joke or a joke from the newer seasons and just start praising it like if it's more obnoxious than when people go like, "Oh, I can't believe Gumball did this thing. It's so I can't believe they got away with this in a kids cartoon."
Yeah, like
Oh yeah.
I mean, like I said, we have such an attachment to seasons 1 to 3, and like the people working on this show now have noticed that. So like they'll put in stuff like Bubble Buddy or have Bubble Bass be given an episode. Like it's like I said, it's just acknowledging that seasons 1 to 3 are the only good seasons of SpongeBob. Like, could you imagine if like an episode in season 11 or 12 was like a remake of Boating Buddies or The Splinter?
Oh God, no! I don't
Ex-
want to imagine that.
exactly. You want to acknowledge those shitty episodes.
But still, it's like some of these episodes are just either decent or at worst mediocre. It's like, again, it's like maybe it's just me, but just gets really obnoxious that people would think that like these new seasons are great just because it's paying homage to those earlier seasons.
It's funny. Like like I haven't really been watching SpongeBob, the newer episodes, like ever since 20. Like I kind of stopped watching SpongeBob after season when before season 8 started. I've been listening to like Pie Guys like reviews of 9 and 10, and I get the impression that they really do recycle a lot of ideas, and sometimes when they come out with something like Mimic Madness, it's like, it's like a it's like a, diamond in the rough situation.
Hmm.
Dan's, you don't watch much SpongeBob. What do you think?
Um, newer seasons look because they're in HD, and yeah, that's all I have to say.
Yeah, he doesn't watch much SpongeBob. I don't think he's seen like an episode.
I've seen the first four, I think.
Well, that's good enough. Don't be like me and never like watch season 6 and 7. They are utter trash.
Yes, they are. At
Yeah,
least we can all agree on that.
everyone keeps telling me watch seasons 1 to 3, and then everything else. Well, I don't know. They're just all like, well, it's up to you.
It
Hmm.
really is. Twisted, it's your turn again.
All right, I'm gonna talk about um the Powerpuff Girls. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking when I put this, but I don't know. I'm gonna try my best to argue for why seasons 5 and 6 are decent, because I do think they are decent. I just don't know how to argue for why they're decent. But I don't know. I will say that they're not as good as the first four seasons of the Powerpuff Girls. I do think that if you want to see this show at its best, you're better off watching those seasons. But I think that seasons 5 and 6, because the thing about those seasons is that they became more like dialogue driven, and I think some of the fast paced, um, the pacing also sort of bogged down a little bit. The action also got a little bit watered down. Actually, it wasn't so much that it got watered down. It's more so they got reduced. Like more episode, like we saw less episodes that were centered on the action. And I do agree that those things did in fact affect my enjoyment of it. But I think that in terms of writing, in terms of like dialogue writing, there's some funny stuff here and there. And there are still like a couple of episodes that are like really good, like the one where him put the girls under like this weird nightmare. That was a pretty good episode. I really like it. There's that one where they fight the fucking mecha robot, the one the professor created. That one episode, and then turns out it was the mayor who was driving it because he didn't know what the fuck he was doing. That episode was pretty good. I really like it. Um, I guess there was also that one about the one musical episode, which I actually didn't like it the first time I watched it, but I think looking back, it's a lot better than I thought it was. So like, yeah, I think that there are good episodes here and there. I will say that there are some that are pretty bad, like that one that takes place in like in a sort of like Western setting. That was kind of a shitty episode. I didn't really like that one. But I think that in general, they're decent seasons. They're not the best, but you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd say that 5 and 6 are a considerable downgrade from the first four seasons. Well, not to
Hmm.
mention the slower pace, but you also had a lot of gross out episodes involving like the girls getting badly sunburned and them wetting their bed even though they didn't. It was Mojo doing it, which is really fucking
It's
creepy.
funny because that episode became a meme between me and my brother because we meme the fuck out of because of the weird reference.
Wow, that's that's like, man. But I would say there were some decent concepts, like him bringing back the Rowdy Rough Boys, though whether or not they overexposed them those seasons like depends on your views. But there was that funny episode where like him and Mojo argue over who the real father of the Rowdy Roughs was. And there was
That was one
also
of the best episodes.
that clip show episode with like made up shit like the girls as teenagers.
That was a real thing.
This was from an episode like where they're in their closet and they remember stuff and it plays out like a clip show and they show like scenes that weren't in any other episode and one of them was they were teenagers and they fell for the teenage rowdy rough boys.
Incredible.
Yeah, that was a pretty weird. That was a pretty weird segment, but it was kind of amusing.
I remember this one episode from, I don't know if it's from those seasons, but like the one where like where they travel through silent era movies and such.
I'm
That was a
pretty sure
pretty.
that was from those seasons.
I don't know. I honestly enjoyed that episode. If it wasn't for the fact that it was in those seasons, like it honestly would have made the thing a lot better in my opinion.
Yeah, like I mean by this point I think McCracken had left to work on Foster's and like well, not only had the pacing like slowed down, but also it had become a lot more comedic. Though I would say that in some ways you could, the, like the worst episode, like the fifth and sixth seasons of the Powerpuff Girls are somewhat comparable to most of the reboot. There are probably like some reboot episodes that are better than the worst of 5 and 6. though. That's just from what I hear.
I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. I stopped watching that reboot in the middle of the first season, so I'm willing to accept the idea that there are probably some episodes of that reboot that are better. I just haven't seen them yet. So like,
Same,
yeah,
same. I really don't care that much to even watch it.
Yeah, no one cares. It's almost dead.
I
Yeah,
really
it's
hope
like,
it dies, man.
I mean, here's the thing: the only reason they brought it back was so that they could sell merchandise. Which, honestly, why didn't they just do what Nickelodeon did, or like they just bring back merchandise for these old cartoons, or for that matter, for all like nostalgia is so big. Like I remember in Toys R Us, like they had these, like they were reprinting these '80s action figures for like Transformers and shit. And it's like I don't get it. It's like why not just do that? Just like sell these old figures so like the older demographic who grew up with these cartoons can buy it without having to make a new cartoon out of it.
Yeah, the
Because Turner
worst part
doesn't
about it
think
is that
logically.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean Ted Turner is a
the most infuriating thing about this is that when a Pop-Up Girls was released, like they didn't really have merch in. I mean, they probably had merch in mind, but they hadn't like started like fabricating any merch. They only
mm-hmm.
did that like a couple of years later. While this reboot, they started making toys before the series even got released, which is disgusting in my.
Yeah, they expected it to be a hit. Now it just airs Sunday nights at 5 p.m. whenever there's a new episode, and that's just disgraceful, but I can't really say I'm surprised.
Yeah, it's like the same thing with the new Ben 10 reboot. It's like it just only came out just to sell plastic, and like here's the sad thing, and this is gonna be shocking, but it's like it's technically my culture. It's like technically my culture's fault that the Ben 10 reboot got made because like Ben 10 is really popular for some reason in South America.
I'm not gonna blame your culture for liking Ben 10 that much. I mean, I can, from what I've heard, the Ben 10 reboot is probably the most fateful out of all the Cartoon Network reboots, and that's saying a lot. And I wouldn't say it's a failure. They still air it weekdays. It's just like not as overplayed as Gumball or Teen Titans Go.
Exactly.
I mean, I've seen some of the episodes. They, it's I don't know. I didn't really like, but I don't know. Some people told me that the later episodes got a lot better ever since they introduced like Bill Gap, but I didn't really go that far. I got bored. I didn't really like the direction they were taking. Then again, I honestly don't even know if I still care about Ben.
Yeah, well, don't take it from me, someone who's recently seen all the shows from the original continuity. Ben 10 is a fucking mess, and Omniverse is garbage.
Yeah.
Some people like Omniverse. Some people say that Omniverse is like better than Alien Force because it has better animation. I guess people also like the tone of it better.
No,
I
no,
don't
they're all wrong.
Yeah.
know.
To be honest, like I never cared for Ben 10. Like for some reason, South America really loves Ben 10 for dance for some reason. But honestly, I'm not gonna complain about it. It's the same reason as why we're obsessed with Dragon Ball Z over there.
Well, we're also obsessed with Dragon Ball.
Yeah, but we had Dragon Ball before you guys had it.
Yeah, but okay, I guess moving on. Here's my second opinion. Cartoon Network's last hurrah was in the early 2010s. And when I say that, I mean I feel like the early 2010s was their last concerted effort at providing quality programming. Because, like, for, I guess this leads into another unpopular opinion, but for every bad thing Stuart Snyder did, he at least brought something good. Like, him somehow wanting to turn Cartoon Network into Adult Swim Junior, I think was a pretty genius move because like we were able to get shows like Adventure Time and Regular Show, these comedies that not only had like a 15-minute running times for each premiere episode, but also push the envelope of like what a like what a mainstream kids channel could show. You also had like these pretty like epic action cartoons, like or pretty ambitious ones like Symbionic Titan, that shitty Thundercats reboot, and the overrated Young Justice, like showing that there was still somewhat a demand for
Thank
action
you.
cartoons.
Thank you. Someone thinks Young Justice is overrated.
I'm not getting
I
into that.
mean, to be honest, most DC cartoons are overrated, except Batman the Animated Series.
And Batman Brave and the
Yeah.
Bold,
So
but
Yeah, I need to watch Brave and the Bold, honestly. It looks
Raven the
fun.
Bold is pretty fun, actually. I remember really liking it as a kid.
yeah, but
I mean, I do enjoy 60s Batman. I'm sorry, go ahead, Jake.
But yeah, like this was the last real effort for Cartoon Network where they had like an equal balance of action and comedy. Though as the decade wore on, the action cartoons started to like just get canceled because they weren't doing well. And
Hmm.
comedy was starting to become the main focus, and by that I mean like the 15-minute episodes they'd show every week. Like, and yeah, I know, like the early 2010s still had its duds. Like Johnny Test was a fixture on the network, and we still had shitty live action like Incredible Crew, and I think we still had Dude What Would Happen and Destroy Build Destroy, but the promotion for those shows was just as equal as their original cartoons, and they obviously cared more for their original cartoons than their live action. So it was just a matter of time before they would abandon like real people doing shit. And like
Mhm.
and as the decade just wore on, they just kind of got really stagnant with just focusing on shows too much on shows like Teen Titans Go and Gumball. I mean, they're like okay, they're like good shows. Gumball's great, but them just like
Hmm.
clogging up the schedule just made people very cynical and whine about the schedule whenever they would do a week-long Teen Titans Go marathon. And even then, like the original shows, the quality just kind of like dried up. Not to say that stuff like We Bear Bears or Craig of the Creek or OKKO are bad shows, but they don't really have as much of a pull on like the viewers as like what the early 2010s brought. Like Adventure Time, that was like huge. Like there was merchandise of it at stores like Walmart and Target. Like even kids who I went to who I went to high school with, they seemed to really enjoy it. I mean, Steven Universe is popular with the Tumblr crowd, but it's never going to be popular with those same high schoolers who don't watch cartoons as much. But yeah, like it was honestly a great time for CN, in my opinion. Like all their shows started to air, started to air them in HD, made them look like crisp and clean on a flat screen TV. Yeah, that's Kino.
That's time.
Honestly wish that like we got more cartoons that didn't look like the same. Honestly, it's like back when like Cartoon Network in the early 2010s, like almost all their cartoons had a different art style. It's like I don't know. It's like ever since like I'm pretty sure people are gonna kill me for saying this, but like it's all Steven Universe's fault that like the whole quote unquote Cal art shit exists.
Well, that or Gravity Falls.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's always like, oh, the cal art style doesn't exist. Like, no, it does exist. The term is wrong. Like, people complain about cal arts, they do have a point. They're just using a really terrible like terminology. It does exist. Like, there are a lot of cartoons that like have very similar design choices. To the point where they all just kind of.
Exactly. It's like I think like a big thing that pisses me off about this whole thing is like, well, what is it I could think of? Remember how back then like cartoon? Remember on the early in the late 2000s, like a lot of action cartoons had this unique style where like they're actually animated and had unique styles. Like nowadays, like most of the and this applies to a lot of Warner Brothers cartoons. It's like nowadays they all just use this rigging flash animation. Now, granted, maybe this is just me complaining about it because I miss well hand drawn animation, and I don't think we want to waste our time explaining why hand drawn animation is better than Flash animation. But long story short, a lot of Warner Bros. Cartoons are using Flash animation. It kind of bugs me. I just want, I honestly just want to go back to hand drawn animation. And another thing I want to bring up, I honestly wish that a lot of cartoons on Cartoon Network and such would just have a different art style instead of relying on the same bean face look.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you guys, although I do have my fair share of disagreements. For starters, I don't like Christina Miller. I think she's a bad, uh, bad everything. But I don't think she's worse than Stuart Schneider. It is true that it was in like the Schneider era that we did get a lot of like really good shows, like Adventure Time, regular show, Symbiotic Titan, and such. But that was like the same era where some of them ended up being canceled. Like DC Nation, that was all him. It was his fault that it disappeared. Symbiotic Titan also under his management. So yeah, I don't know if he's better than I. Okay, I'd say that in the long run, the Schneider era uh, sort of contributed to Cartoon Network. Actually, it didn't. I would say that it offered more like memorable stuff, but I don't know if he's like better than. But that's besides the point. I agree with you. I think that the first half of the 2010s was like a good time for Cartoon Network, but ever
Mm-hmm.
since then, they went downhill. This year's been bad. Honestly, I don't think I like any new show that came out this. I'm not even joking. Like
Like,
even Craig of
Yeah,
the Creek, I thought it was fine. Like that's probably the my favorite that came out of this year,
same.
and I thought it was just fine.
the weird thing was at the beginning of the year they hyped up Unikitty, but now it's not even on the schedule.
Like they dumped it on Boomerang, which at this point might as well just become the new channel for Warner Brothers cartoons because that's where Warner Brothers cartoons that isn't Teen Titans Go air most of the time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I feel bad for all 10 Bunnicula fans.
Even random.
Yes.
I like Bunnicula. I mean, I liked it when I first watched it. I don't know if I'd still like. I don't know. Maxwell Adams works there, so I don't know. I think I'm always gonna have a soft spot for everything.
Hmm.
Yeah. So now, Kat, it's your turn.
Okay, Newgrounds and their animation was never good to begin with. It has always been pandering to 12-year-old edgelords since its inception, and it will always be that way, especially with all the shitty animators who work on it now. Well, not because their artwork is shitty, more like they're actual shitty people.
I mean, I wouldn't say people like Oni or Psychic Pebbles are shitty. Probably someone like
I'm
Ego
talking
Raptor,
about,
he's a turd.
what about Mike Pinecone?
I don't know who Mike Pinecone is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's.
I mean, what you're saying actually doesn't just apply to Newgrounds. It mostly applies to Newgrounds, but I think it can also apply to like early YouTube because there was a time when I guess it was because I don't know if it's because this was around the time when animators like saw the internet as a good source for them to like express themselves. And so because unlike television, the internet allows you to like animate whatever the fuck you want. So I guess people were just kind of going crazy around that era. And now when you look back, you're like, I mean, sure, I mean, it's good that you can get this raunchy, but you didn't need to get this raunchy.
In the
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, sorry, go ahead,
And
Jacob.
another problem I think is that these animators seem to focus more on just parodies of crap like video games and not creating their own original work because like we're never going to see like like the internet like try to compete with television for animation like quality animation. Like yeah, we've had Frederator do their stuff with Cartoon Hangover, but that hasn't been able to sustain itself on YouTube. They had to like go to Verve in order to make a profit. And like with these Newground artists, I can't really think of anyone who was able to like make a quality like cartoon that was able to rival anything like what anything television's been able to provide, except maybe what Rooster Teeth has done with Ruby, and even then, like I wouldn't say Ruby's good.
Eh,
Any,
I
I
like
mean, Ruby is trash to begin with.
Yeah,
I like Ruby's design and I like some of the fights, but that's all it. That's really all it. I don't really care that much about Ruby.
Honestly, it looks like a cartoon that was animated in Source Filmmaker and shit. I don't
I
understand how
think
that.
it's like animated using the same. I think it's a Machinima thing or something similar to Machinima because they did Red versus Blue.
Yeah, I could say it's like yeah, ju- maybe it's just my personal preferences and such. But again, it's like some of these things just legitimately bother me. It's like I don't know. Maybe this is just subject for humor, but it's like some of the jokes they pull in Newgrounds cartoons, like I don't know. It's like there was I remember this one that I saw yesterday for a Smash collab where like most one of the jokes was just like a scat joke. Like they fully like they showed like fully detailed fecal matter, and I'm not gonna get into full detail because I feel like I'm disgusting you guys right now. But
No, I can understand because like Newgrounds has always had that reputation of being edgy, and like I said, I never like grew up with Newgrounds, so I'm
Yeah,
not
me
really as
neither.
attached or detached to it as you are.
yeah, yeah, it's like I think the jokes that cross the line, in my opinion, are just like rape, domestic abuse, like of jokes that surround like eating shit and such. Those are the kind of jokes that I believe cross the line, in my
I
opinion.
can't stand scat joke. I can't stand scat eating. That's just no.
What's so funny about those jokes, honestly?
It's funny because it's wrong.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of respect Newgrounds, but not really. I don't know. I feel like I'm obligated to respect Newgrounds because a lot of like good animators came out of that. But like, I don't know if I actually like respect it out of like out of some honesty in my heart because I don't really care about Newgrounds that much.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So is that it for Newgrounds hatred?
Yes.
Okay. Twisted. It's your turn up to bat.
Oh, all right. I actually forgot what was my other unpop. Oh, I remember now. Um, Mineta from fucking My Hero Academia is funny, and it disgusts me that a lot of people are like, he's just a fucking shitty pervert. I'm like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? I mean, yeah, sure, he's a pervert, but that's the joke. And also, like, I don't know, I just feel like people are a bit too mean to Mineta. Like everyone, there are two types of criticisms you'll hear. The first one is that he's a creepy pervert, which that's not a legit criticism. That's just an attack. Like, yeah, no shit, he's a pervert. Like that's part of the joke. I mean, if you don't think that if you don't think that the jokes are funny, that's one thing. You can't just like say that he's a pervert and somehow that's supposed to be a legitimate point. The second one is the fact that that's what the like that's sort of like what defines his character for the most part. And I do agree that I think that his character is very simplistic and his sort of like perverted nature is what is essentially the only thing that defines him. But my counter argument for that is that Mineta is a side character and not just like he's a like really irrelevant side character. So I don't think it's that necessary for give him like a lot of depth. And the weird thing is that Mineta is not even the only character that has like a somewhat one-dimensional level of depth. I'd say that a lot of side characters in My Hero Academia have that level of depth, but for some reason people shit on him and not everyone else. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to like shit on everyone else. I like most of the cast of My Hero Academia, even though I don't
Fuck
think that
Bakugo.
everyone.
Yeah,
I,
Bakugo's.
I like Bakugo. I think he's good. But yeah, even though I don't think that. Oh yeah, fuck, I forgot what I was saying. The point is, I think he's funny. I think that some of the jokes are funny. Um, yeah, I guess that's it.
I find it really weird that Mineta is like hated as much as he is. I mean, at least in his defense, he does like he's actually the same age as most of these classmates that like Horikoshi is sexualizing. So if you want to get mad at him, get mad at this like adult manga artist who's drawing these high school girls pretty who's drawing them as attractive as possible, who's sexualizing them. And even then, like he's just horny for girls in general. Like he'll go after older women. Like I don't. I mean that's weird, but it's like fine since he does it. It's not. I mean it'd be
And
weird if the
Yeah,
teachers hit on him. And even then, like
and
he
besides,
never really succeeds. Like either he's ignored or he's scolded for being a pervert.
yeah. Also, like he's a child. Like he's just like I'm pretty sure he's like around 12. Like that's around maybe a little older. I don't know. But the point is, like he's around the age where it's normal for someone to be like that libidinous. So like it puzzles me that people don't really get that. I don't know.
you just made me get that now.
Wait, what were you gonna say earlier, Catbit?
I was gonna say like, and besides, it's like, what do you think is more creepier? 12, like a child like Manita creeping on a grown woman, or a guy like Master Roshi creeping on a 16-year-old girl asking her to show her panties to him.
Yeah, that's a double standard. How can people think Roshi's all funny when he's definitely a creepier person than this fucking great boy?
Exactly. It's like Roshi's like what 100 years old and like creeping on this 16-year-old girl just to get his weird. I don't want to imagine why he has that creepy obsession with like younger women. Honestly,
I don't know. I guess
I don't
Toriyama
know.
thought it was funny.
I think it's funny,
Like it's
but
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like this hatred comes from a lot of the normie fans, the
oh
sort
god.
of the ones that are probably not deep into anime and only really like. I'm not saying that's the only reason they like My Hero Academia, but they were exposed to it because of how mainstream it is. And a lot of these guys, they're usually very, let's
Sensitive.
just say, yeah, sort of. They tend to come from they. Most of them, not all of them, but most of them have like very like Western influences. And the thing about a lot of like Westerners is that they're not very comfortable with both masculinity and sexuality. That's
Mm-hmm.
probably why a lot of people don't like them. I don't know.
I
Us Americans are weird.
I kind of just had a realization that My Hero Academia and how it treats its women is the opposite of how Naruto treats women. Like in Naruto, there's like I don't know how much fan service there is of the girls, but I honestly don't think there's that much yet. The writing on the women is like really not good. It's pretty subpar. But in My Hero Academia, not only are like pretty much all of the female characters like at least well rounded to an extent, they're also pretty likable in their own right, and they're also attractive looking, which I can't even like fathom a shonen series having like attractive looking girls that are like actually really likable.
Then again, maybe the guy who created My Hero Academia probably knew how to write women,
Yeah,
even if he over sexualized 14-year-olds.
yeah.
Yeah, Kishimoto admitted that he doesn't know how. Sorry,
What?
female characters, not female girls.
He doesn't know how to do what?
He doesn't know how to write female characters. The Naruto author.
Yeah, I mean, he either said that, or I think he specifically talked about strong female characters. I don't remember, but it had something to do with female fictional characters that he wasn't as strong as male. I don't know.
Yeah, and
To be
that's why
honest,
Sakura's a wet doormat.
I think she's
Sakura.
fine. I think she's fuck. I should have. Damn it! I probably should have included Sakura is a fine character on this list. Damn it!
Yeah, but
I want.
Yeah, but Catbit
wait,
doesn't watch much anime. He's only seen Dragon Ball and My Hero.
yeah, and like I rarely catch it that much anymore. It's like I don't know. It's like ever since like I've been talking a lot. It's like back in Saturday nights, I only watched them because like I was bored on a Saturday night. But like now, since I have people to talk to, it's like I start watching cartoons less and less.
Yeah. Also, watch Log Horizon. Log Horizon is much better than My Hero.
You guys keep cutting off for some reason.
I don't know why. I think it's because like his connection, or maybe it's mine.
Who knows? So wait, did Jacob? Did you express your opinion yet?
I think I pretty much did. Meaning, like, it's funny to make fun of him, but I think the hatred towards him is very exaggerated. Like, there's this one Tumblr post where someone drew Mineta surrounded by a bunch of boobies, and by that I mean the bird. And then the person, like, goes on this tirade about how Mineta, like, ruined their life because she was reminded of all the times, like, people commented on her huge bosom, which okay, so you got a huge rack of breasts. How does
Ah,
Mineta being a pervert correlate to that?
this
Exactly.
is what bothers me. I think the people are just way too mean on my good friend Mineta that I think he does not deserve the amount of hatred he received. I mean, Bakugo, even though I like him, I think that he's a good character. I can kind of understand why some people don't like him, but Mineta, I honestly don't get it. I think that it's a lot. I think it's very unjust.
Yeah, you just actually helped me understand. You actually made me see Manita in a better light thanks to that argument, man.
Yeah. So
So Jacob, is it your turn?
yeah, I think it is. This one's pretty fucking awful. The Emoji Movie isn't the worst movie ever. So last year I watched this with a friend of mine. I was expecting this to be really god awful, but the shocking thing was I was actually more or less just bored watching it. Like I don't. This film, like when it came out, it got way too much hate. Like a zero on Rotten Tomatoes. That's exaggerating it. Like I'm just gonna say this right here. The biggest problem with that movie is it's soulless. Like all pretty much all the plot threads are
You
taken
keep
from
you
like.
keep you keep cutting out.
Okay, you want me to start over?
What with this part?
Yeah.
Yeah, go
The
ahead.
Emoji Movie is good movie.
So
No, it's not.
the Emoji Movie isn't the worst thing ever. So a year ago, I watched this with a friend of mine, and I was expecting this to be really awful, but for the most part, I was just bored watching it. The biggest problem I have with it is that it's soulless. Nothing, there's like really no effort put into like creating an interesting story. It's just a bunch of shit they got from stuff like Toy Story or Wreck It Ralph. Like, it's all like told in a very safe, predictable manner. Like the product placement, that shit's there, like it's pandering and it's embarrassing, like having Candy Crush and the Twitter logos like coming at the climax, but it's like, man, who gives a fuck? I see like product placements in DreamWorks films. How is this film like any worse? Like the
Hmm.
animation, it's probably the best thing about the movie because at least it's somewhat vibrant, but I wouldn't say it's the best that Sony animation has ever done. I mean, the movie's just, it's just like, it's so boring that it's not really that bad. Like I've seen like real shit. I've seen like the freaking Italian animated Titanic films. Those are garbage. The Emoji Movie is just it's just bland. Like why should I get mad? I mean, I can understand why people hate like boring crap like that one episode of SpongeBob, that sinking feeling, but to call the Emoji Movie the worst movie ever is just that's like it's going a little bit too far, ain't it?
I mean, to be fair, I'm gonna try to. Yeah, I think this is the first time we're gonna have an actual discussion. So to be fair, I think that a lot of the people that like consider the Emoji Movie to be the worst movie ever, I don't think they actually mean it. I think it's more so that they just hate the idea of the emoji. And I don't know. I haven't actually seen that movie. I was actually one of the few people who were like, okay, this looks fucking retarded. Why should I watch this just to know what the quality of the movie will be? No, fuck this. I'm gonna watch something else. So yeah, I've seen a lot of reviews of the Emoji Movie. Some do say that it's the worst. Some also say that it's not really. They just hate the idea because the thing about the Emoji Movie is just how transparently cynical it is, and that really pisses off a lot of people. And I feel like that ends up affecting their perception of the movie probably more than they would have if the movie wasn't so like transparently cynical and corporate. So I do actually kind of agree with you that it's possible because I have seen a lot of reviews of the Emoji Movie, and they do. And what you said actually falls in line with what everyone else has also said. And I strongly believe that if the Emoji Movie had a, let's say, less annoying concept or premise, but but had pretty much the same flaws that you described, a lot of people wouldn't really care.
Yeah. I mean, I guess when I saw it, I went into it without realizing just how cynical the idea was. I was just thinking, well, this is another shitty movie I'm gonna watch. Not like an enjoyably shitty one.
No, to
I'm
be
just
honest,
pretty, yeah.
no, I'm just gonna say, to be honest, I honestly don't know what else to say because I never cared for it that much. So really, again, I'm sorry, I just don't have anything else to say about the Emoji Movie. Just go ahead.
Yeah, it's fine.
Hmm. Yeah, I was going to say that I feel really bad for you because I find boring movies to be way worse than incompetent. Way fucking worse. Like I'd much rather see a movie that like fails in like every level in terms of directing and writing than watching something that bores me out of. Like I really cannot fucking stand like movies that bore me. I just can't. I might actually I'm actually more inclined to give something boring a 1 out of 10 than something that's completely incompetent.
I guess when I watched it, I just felt absolutely nothing, which I guess is just like kind of clouded my judgment on it. Like, if I were to watch it again, maybe I would probably be harsher on it. But now, with the only time I'll ever probably watch it, I'm just gonna say I don't want to think about it because it is. The idea has just brought so much misery to us. Why should I even bother?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Actually, what you just described pretty much like it's a perfect like description of my reaction when I saw the Justice League movie. Like when I saw that movie, I just didn't really feel anything. I was like, oh, the thing. I didn't really care about anything. I honestly didn't really have much of an opinion on that movie. But then I knew it wasn't good, and I knew I didn't like it, but I was just like, eh, I don't know, man. But then when I started like seeing reviews, like recently Ralph the Movie Maker made a really good review of the Justice League. And I was like, yeah, I agree with you. This movie is really bad. But when I saw it for the first time, I was just like, I don't know. I don't
Like,
know.
like I'm not gonna deny that the Justice League was a tremendously awful film, but I guess like the difference between the Emoji Movie and Justice League is that even though everyone knows the DC cinematic universe is a train wreck, there are some people that still hold out hope that the Justice League movie could have been decent. But with the Emoji Movie, like everyone knew this was a bad idea. It was probably it's probably more shocking to say that you thought it was okay than it was like a steaming pile of goat shit.
Fun
Mhm.
fact: if you watch the interviews, some of the actors actually swear, but they do bleep it. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah. So okay, so it's Cat's turn again.
Okay, what is it gonna be? All right, Loud House season 3. It's garbage, and I'm pissed off that people think that it's a good season. I can't. To be honest, I am so pissed at the fact that the show started abandoning the slice of life tone to it. Which to be honest, like the show was not that good in general. It's an all right show. It was an alright show with one-dimensional characters and forced-in morals, but it was still a huge show. Nowadays, it's trying way too hard to be exaggerated and loony to the point that it just that just legitimately pisses me off. There was this one episode in the season where what was the scientist girl? I don't fucking
We'll
remember.
just call her like the geek girl.
Yeah, like the
Honestly, I don't
geek.
remember most names. I
Yeah,
stopped
it's like
watching The Loud House.
the geek girl, she impresses these scientists, but like she's getting annoyed with her family's constant annoyance and such. It's like she decides to move in with the scientists for no reason. And then she realized, oh man, I was being shady to my family this whole time. I need to go back. But like no. Instead of like going back, she builds a fucking time machine to prevent herself from moving out. It's like what kind of ending is that, honestly?
Uh, yeah, honestly, I uh, I like season one of The Loud House, but I stopped watching it like halfway through season two because I was like, okay, this is fucking trash. Like the series became like way too formulaic. I mean, the series was already like really predictable, but season two like became intolerably predictable. Like honestly, it's just very like the thing about the Loud House is that it borrows like a lot of like sort of trends of the 2000s,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the trends they borrow is just the sort of formula of like episodic series with like quote unquote morals. And like every fucking episode, you know exactly how they're going to end. You know,
Mm-hmm.
nothing's really all that impactful or emotional anymore. It's just really dry and I don't know, man.
It just
It
feels dry and bitter.
exactly. And it's really sad because I do like the cast. I think that they're pretty likable, but like it's just really boring, man. I can't watch Loud House anymore.
It just annoys me even more that like people say that the Loud House is going to be the show that'll save Nickelodeon just because it doesn't have the same obnoxious screaming characters like Breadwinners or Fanboy and Chum Chum and all that shit.
There was a time in like 2016 or last year that I thought Nickelodeon was doing better than Cartoon Network, but man, I was fucking wrong. Like they cancel Harvey Beaks, like Loud House. Oh God, no.
Yeah, it's like Loud House is not even that good anymore. It's like it annoys the hell out of me that they canceled a great show like Harvey Beaks for no other reason than like it's not getting SpongeBob ratings.
And Loud House
I
becomes popular.
really like her.
Sorry,
And just like Rick and Morty, once Loud House became popular, the show started to dip in quality.
sorry, Twisted.
I was just gonna say that I really like Harvey Beaks, and I think it's way better than the Loud House, and I think it deserved way more success than the Loud House. That's all I can say.
Like Loud House becomes as successful as SpongeBob, and they decide just to put as much of it on the schedule. They don't really try to like change, like fix the problem they have with their animation, as in like promoting their cartoons as equally as possible. It's just, oh, Loud House, it became popular. Put in the same time slots as SpongeBob. I freaking hate that. Like screwing over someone like Carl Greenblatt just pisses me off. But then again, at least Nick was smart enough to get rid of Chris Savino.
To be honest, it's like here's the sad thing about it. It's like the whole reason this shit happened was because of Zamazar Kami. It's like had she actually stayed at Nickelodeon for a long while, I don't know, like she would have kept the creep like Chris Savino and like Dan Snyder in the channel and such. Because like here's the thing, like she knew about Dan Snyder's shit for a long time now. Like the only reason she supposedly fired made him quit was because she didn't want to deal with drama. It's like she was the one who made all those stupid decisions from what people who got fired at Nickelodeon have been told. It's like all those awful decisions of Nicktoons getting canceled and screwed over, all those god awful sitcoms and such. Those are all her decisions because she wanted to make Nickelodeon into Disney Channel.
Yeah, she's kind of a piece of shit, to be honest.
And here's the sad thing: it's like from what I've been told, it's like Adventure Time would have been successful. It's like the only reason Zamazar Kami didn't pick it up was because, according to her, the creator, what's his name, Pendleton Ward, a quote looked disgusting from his appearance.
Well, he kind of does. No offense to him.
No, it's
I
like
mean, to be
she didn't
fair,
like she refused to hire him just for his looks alone.
now that's pretty pathetic, honestly.
And I don't know. I don't think Adventure Time would have lasted past 2 seasons on Nickelodeon. I feel like it being on Cartoon Network not only like helped it appeal to an older demographic, but also was able to let it transform into like, I guess, like take on a different tone as the show went on. If it was on Nick, it probably just would have been a comedy at 2 seasons, and that's that.
I actually
Honest,
believe in you.
I honestly wish that like this whole. I'm just hoping that like the new president of Nickelodeon would just try to like fix the channel up because like he's saying that he wants to fix the channel after the mess Zyma left it in or something.
Well, it's all up to like be seen if he actually does. If it's all empty promises, then I don't know what to say. Like Nickelodeon is screwed. I mean, I don't really care much about Nickelodeon in this day and age, like probably because I'm too busy jerking it to Cartoon Network shows, but I would like to see Nick actually come out with something that I'd be interested in and not something like Loud House or Legend of Korra.
Yeah, Loud House was a big disappointment to be honest. Though I'm hoping like some of the shorts they are promoting that have a lot of visual that look really interesting in my opinion, like Plant Panic or like that one with like the Force Kids. I would really want that to be a cartoon, and but again, it's like I'm hoping that like the new president at Nickelodeon just tries to bring changes to the channel.
Honestly, I have really low standards for Nickelodeon, so
Here's the thing, and this is just hopeful thinking because like Nickelodeon's the reason why I became an artist to begin with. Without it, it's like I don't know what I'd be doing with my life other than maybe just masturbating to cartoons like what Jacob does on a 24/7 daily basis.
I fucking hate you. Look, all I ever masturbate to is like Marceline Bubblegum fanfics, okay? Like that's like
I don't
the only
even
shit.
get. Honestly, I don't really get that. Like Marceline, I kind of get, but Bubblegum, she's not that hot.
She kind of is. I mean, like, compared to every other cartoon character out there.
get it, Jacob? You want
I want a bone. I want a bubble
look,
gum.
look, look. I'll get you a girlfriend and I'll ask her to cosplay as bubblegum or
Nah,
stocking for you,
nah.
okay?
I don't really want to. I'm a cuck. Anyway, so I guess is that enough about Loud House, the most overrated Nicktoon besides Cat Dog?
Yep.
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 I
Loud House
basically turned
fucking
into Clay
sucks.
Claymore in this point.
Hell fucking yeah. So we're in the home stretch now, our last opinions each. I'm hoping we can like get this done quickly so Catbit can go back to being an epic gamer.
Yes, I need to go back to
Okay.
being an epic gamer once and for all.
Well, okay. Well, my last unpopular opinion. I, I'm, I have the feeling that you guys are gonna disagree with me, but I don't think the minions are that bad. Like, hear me out. Hear me out. I'm specifically talking about their their presence in the first and second movie, more so the first and the second. But in the first movie, they were fine. I don't think they were that annoying. Honestly, I don't even think the minions are all that annoying to begin with. But please listen to me. Dude, I think that sometimes they're amusing. I will admit in the second movie, they were like overly stuffed, and I don't know. I feel like they like shoved in way too many scenes with the minions, more than they should have. And I also agree that the Minions movie was a bad idea and never should have existed. But other than that, I think they're fine. Yeah, I guess this is where the discussion starts.
I mean, I think the biggest problem with the minions is not only just like how simplistic they are. Like they're just sidekicks. Like you can't try to like freaking overexpose them as much as possible. People like most like thinking people will get sick of that. And not just that, it's like you have a bunch of brain dead like, old people and little kids who find their antics cute or adorable and they post like shitty Facebook memes that like have absolutely nothing to do with minions, but they just fit them in anyway. And those they're just terrible.
Okay, yeah, I'll admit that's really stupid.
And and like I said, like the character designs are just simple and ugly. Like yeah, people. Yeah, they look kind of cute on the surface, but really, that's just it. They're just all random nonsense, and it gets old like really quick unless you're like one of those said demographics. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like I don't know. Like, I honestly just like wish they never existed. I mean, if they didn't, we'd probably still have to deal with crap like the raving rabbits, and I don't know what else we had. Shrek, he's a
You
popular cartoon character, but I'm just sick and tired of minions. Like, or I guess I'm just like over them
know,
by this point. Like, I don't really expect them to die. Like, there'll be like radioactive waste or the Big Bang Theory. No, wait, that doesn't make any sense. Big Bang Theory is getting canceled. But
good.
yeah, minions.
The,
They're.
the Big Bang Theory is not a bad show. That's another unpopular opinion I have.
Well, we're talking about minions right now and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
how they're decent.
Yeah.
Here's
Besides, I have a whole video planned to for the Big Bang theories. We can suspend that conversation, but let's talk about the minions.
Yeah.
it's like yeah. Again, like I can't stand the minions. I honestly don't know why people like those things. They're really obnoxious, and the worst thing is that they probably won't die off until like years from now, and it hurts me because like and this isn't just for the minions in general. Animation for its entirely. I'm just don't want Illumination's shitty animation to become the standard of the industry because like again, it's like a lot of people like faggots like Animat think that that the stuff that Pixar does, which is what Illumination supposedly does right, is a lot better than the unique stuff from Sony Pictures Animation and shit. Shut up and so, but it's like again, I'm just like I don't know. It's like I'm worried because like people just want these generic looking Pixar movies to be the standard of animation, but it's like I'm getting so damn tired of these movies because they all look the same.
Hmm. I actually agree with you. I don't really like the state of the animation industry, particularly in the theatrical. Honestly, in general, even television, but it's even worse in theaters. I think that a lot of animation studios are very complacent and a bit stagnant. They're not very motivated to like be more artistic and free, and that really bothers me. And as a result, I don't think I've seen an animated feature since Lego Batman. Like Lego Batman was the last theatrical release animated film I've seen, and that movie was released in like February of 2017. Like that's how tired I am of animated movies.
Hmm.
And
Agreed.
I definitely think that Illumination is one of the reasons why they're probably among like the most like the guiltiest of this problem.
Yeah, because like here's the thing, it's like they wouldn't even have this good animation if it wasn't for the fact that these are animators that the founder of Illumination borrowed from Disney and Blue Sky.
And another thing about Illumination is their films are generally lower in cost than like your average Pixar films, so they're able to get like greater returns at the box office because of like how cheap it is. And they
Mm-hmm.
keep doing this. Like they'll keep doing this until it stops working. And I'd probably say that Sing is probably the most cynical Illumination film because it just takes a bunch of like archetypes and like other shit you've seen in those type in like movies such as that and just like does nothing with it, and people still went to see it. Like I know I'm just like parroting I hate everything because he's funny, but it's true. Like Sing is probably the most emblematic of Illumination and how they're only in it for the cash.
What are your thoughts on people who say that Sing is a good movie?
I hate them. That's all I could say.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
But
yeah,
then
I
again,
again,
my hatred towards anyone who likes Illumination movies could be because of faggots like Animat and such.
yeah. I hate Conehead Harambe
I love the fact that like in Sing, like they spoiled the endings of the story arcs in the trailer.
because like they know people are still gonna see it anyway. Doesn't matter if you give away the whole thing.
Yep.
so yeah. Honestly, I don't think I can defend the minions because I definitely recognize the annoyance that they offer. I just don't think that they are as annoying and insufferable as many people make it out to be. Like
Mm-hmm.
every time people like I feel like the minions, at least among the animation community, like they're kind of like the butt of the joke. They're like they're like perceived as like the lowest of the lowest that animation can become,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know. I feel like the minions is a better representation of how like cynical companies can be because of how Illumination banks on the popularity of them. But I don't know. I feel like I've seen worse characters, and I don't think that they were all that bad in the first Despicable Me. In the second one, I will agree that they were kind of like they did overstay their welcome. But in the first movie, I thought they were fine. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Twisted brought this up earlier. Thanks a lot, asshole. But I'm probably going to talk about it a little bit more in depth here now. People should be allowed to dislike the Cal art style, or if we're going to just label it as appropriately, the millennial art style, because I just fucking love millennials that much. So I guess like this all came to a boil when Thundercats Roar was announced. Like at the time, my opinion was I started out as being positive towards it, but I've just gradually come to the realization that the art style is ugly and that no one asked for this reboot. Like, people trying to defend it are just a bunch of sellout whiny faggots. Like that Nico retard. I fucking hate him. Too Loud
And
is a
I
fuck,
agree
fucking
with
Loud
you.
House Fairly Odd Parents ripoff, you dumb jackass.
I
screw
agree
you
with
and screw you and screw your fucking prostitute Bibsy Pop.
Yeah.
you.
But
I
yeah,
agree. There are way too many Thundercats apologists, and I don't understand why. It
it's
was a
You
short
because
want
like
trailer,
they all
guys.
work in the animation industry and they're all like tight knit. Like if one of them was to critique, then they probably be like, blacklisted.
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder if like the animation industry nowadays is ran by a bunch of jerk offs, like the ones that Easy Peasy mentioned. Because I'm starting to feel like Nico and those people are the true assholes that whip their dicks out in board meetings and shit in trash
They
cans.
probably are. I'd say like the animation industry is similar to like the gaming industry or the comics industry, in that it's basically like controlled by like a bunch of like-minded individuals who think that their views and taste are like what everyone wants. When in reality, like you have a bunch of different people who will seek out different shit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna deny that stuff like Steven Universe is popular. What I don't like is when like people say that, oh, this show is so revolutionary, it's so progressive, when it's just fine. Like it's not really. It's just got like a shiny gloss. It's just got like a shiny gloss over like what's just average morals that any stupid kid or man child should know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And besides, it's like the only reason that kind of art style is popular is because of the Tumblr stuff. Which, by the way, I'm gonna say this: Bibsy Pop's new cartoon. That's the most Tumblr ass, pandering ass shit I have ever seen. I am not joking. I'm pretty sure people are gonna roast me for saying this. I'm pretty sure that bitch is gonna probably blackmail me off the industry, but I'm gonna say it. Her stuff is garbage. Her art style is garbage, and it's nothing more but SJW pandering shit.
Man, I honestly wonder if Triss is gonna like get angry at this part.
Who's Triss?
He's the guy. He's like me and I told you he's me and Twisted's friend. He's gonna upload and probably listen to this audio, so you can like insult Vivzy as much in this period.
Oh, good. One more thing I could say. Fuck you, Vivzy. You're not a good artist. Your ego is bigger than the Eiffel Tower, and up yours for what you did to my boy Random that one time.
She's gonna be the
Hmm.
Phil Fish of online animators.
Phil, who's Phil Fish?
He's a shitty
Yes.
game developer.
Oh,
I wanted to.
wasn't he the autismo that spurred out and canceled Fest 2 because
Yeah, that's
someone made
him.
fun of him?
Yeah,
To be honest, Super Paper Mario is a better Fez game than Fez will ever be. I don't know what
But,
fucking Fez is.
I wanted to. I wanted to like touch on a certain subject that we kind of glossed over, and it was about the Thundercats war controversy, which reminds me a lot of the High Guardian Spice controversy, which also reminds me a little bit of the Shira controversy. Is the
yeah.
fact
They
that
all like happened like pretty much one after the other during the summer.
yeah, and I don't know. It's the thing is like the cartoon community is very weird because for some reason like there's like a large portion of the cartoon community that for some reason like is like afraid of backlash. Like every time a trailer or a cartoon receives like public backlash from people who reasonably dislike it, everyone's just all like, "Oh, these people are just freaking out. They're just a bunch of fucking man children. Like, grow the fuck up. Stop freaking out. It's not out yet." Stupid shit like that. And it's just weird because I've like this doesn't happen in the gaming community. This doesn't happen in the anime community. For some reason, it's just the cartoon community. I don't know if it's because of Teen Titans Go that
It's
maybe
probably
people are
Teen
just
Titans Go.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think people are just tired of just people don't want to experience the level of backlash that Teen Titans Go receives. So like every time something comes even remotely close to receiving that amount of negativity, like so many people are just so quick to defend it, even when it doesn't actually deserve any defense. Like fucking Thundercats roar,
Hmm.
and that I feel like that sets up a somewhat of a dangerous precedent because you're essentially just you're kind of limiting criticism, and I don't know. I feel like this is somewhat of a dangerous thing that we've established, and I feel like things that are bad, things that are look bad, deserve backlash. I don't think anyone should hold back, and I think that the whole fucking oh you're being like a crybaby man children thing, that's fucking stupid, and it bothers me that we've actually resorted to this. That we actually have to use stupid arguments like, "Oh, it's not even out yet, so don't judge it." Like, dude, it's a fucking trailer. You're of course you're supposed to judge it. Like, if they didn't want me to judge it, why would they release a trailer with like footage and
Hmm.
effort put into it? Like, if they release that, they want me to have like an impression of it, and sometimes that impression is negative. And if I want to share it online, I have every right to do so. I'm not a fucking man child if I do so. And it also doesn't mean that I'll automatically hate it just because I didn't like the trailer. So shut the fuck up. Like, stop with this weird anti-backlash mentality because it's stupid.
Like it's honestly weird because like when that backlash happened, I was somehow going against the people that I usually would associate with. I guess the anti SJWs that were bitching about it to hell and back. And it was a really weird time for me, and I don't think I'll ever try to act like that again. Well, I guess I should be grateful I never like spurred about it on Twitter, but it could have happened. I could have been a potential lol cow.
Yeah, it's a good thing you try to compose yourself. I mean, I would be disappointed if you were on Kiwi Farms.
Nah, I don't got it. I don't have an
Yeah,
account on
we
there.
don't really want. And you know what's the worst part is that I don't even really care about Thundercats. I don't really care about Shira. High Guardian Spice, I care a little bit more because I actually pay for Crunchyroll and I don't want him to fucking fund on Western shitty animation. But I don't know, the other controversies I didn't really care.
Yeah,
I just thought the conversations were stupid.
like High Guardian Spice, that legitimately made me mad, just because Crunchyroll wasn't trying to hide the fact that it was a cartoon.
Yeah, that trailer pissed me off like a lot. Like I was like, fuck, what a shitty trailer. What a bunch of pretentious ass fuckwats acting as if their cartoon is like the most unique thing ever. Like, dude, like get off your fucking moral high horse, dude.
The
Like your project is no better than what I've seen. So
the part where
shut
they
up.
say people have forgotten what hand drawn animation is, that was just icing on the diarrhea cake.
Like yeah, that was really
Yeah,
so yeah. I I resent the cartoon community a lot. Probably more than I should.
yeah,
And
we're all a bunch of horrible people.
Then again, I feel like some people I may or may not be mutuals with the cartoon industry might be showing their true colors to me the more I try talking to them, but who knows? I'm not going to say their names here for obvious reasons.
Yes. So, I guess we're done with that. So, Catbit, you got the last opinion here. End us off on a high note, or whatever kind of
mhm.
note.
Okay, I'm gonna say this. Teen Titans Go is not the worst reboot ever created. You guys are all a bunch of man children. The OG Teen Titans was shit. Stop believing in your nostalgia and actually watch the fucking cartoon. It is a poor, it is a poorly written mess. It was never good to begin with. And here's the thing: Teen Titans was created to be baby's first superhero cartoon. If you wanted to watch a good superhero cartoon, you should have watched the Justice League cartoon that was released around that time. But for some reason, that wasn't popular, but Teen Titans was. So I'm going to say this as bluntly as possible. Teen Titans was shit. Teen Titans Go is a good show. Stop jerking off to your nostalgia, you autismo losers.
Like I guess like
Shit. I don't even know what to say.
well, I guess in like defense of Teen Titans, I liked the original show when I was younger. I definitely liked the more comedic episodes, but I can appreciate the dramatic arcs. What I don't really get is why people say this is one of the greatest superhero cartoons ever when we already had
It's
stuff
not.
like Batman the animated series, Superman the animated series. I well, there were no good Marvel cartoons in the 90s. But like
Spectacular
that
Spider-Man.
was 2009. But that's a great
Shit,
show. That's better than Teen
that was a
Titans.
great series.
It's like I just don't understand why people classify Teen Titans as this magnum opus, and they just start sending death threats to animators that work on Teen Titans Go just because they made a cartoon that isn't made for you, assholes.
Even though some of the producers actually worked on the original teams.
Like I know one of the people, and I think one of the showrunners previously worked on Batman Brave and the Bold, and that was basically like what most people think Teen Titans Go should have been. Like just because like he's working on this crap means that everything else he's done is just shit. Like wow, that's some great judgments there, asshole.
And I want to
uh,
apply this thing with the same with like the new Ninja Turtles reboot because again, like people call that the Teen Titans Go Ninja Turtles. When let's be brutally honest,
hey,
let's be brutally honest. The '80s Ninja Turtles was not that good to begin with.
it was shit.
Yep,
Yeah.
could have said it. Couldn't have said it better myself.
I'm sorry, but it was.
I
Well,
couldn't
We
have said it
actually
better myself.
watched it.
I could at least say that all Ninja Turtles adaptations are their own thing, and Rise of the TMNT is definitely its own thing, which is
I
what
like Rise of the TMNT. I thought it was good. I thought it was really fun.
it's honestly like the kind of action show a lot of people want these days because it's very stylish. I don't know how they would feel about like the storylines, but it's fun. And that's all
Yeah.
a cartoon needs to be, just be exciting or engaging. And Teen Titans Go, there is a lot of stuff that the original show fans could like appreciate. Like they reference characters, like they reference stuff from the original series, like whether it's characters or
Hmm.
like dumb stuff like Robin's crush on Starfire, or like I don't know, Beast Boy. Well, I don't know what Beast Boy ever called Raven Mama. I
I
don't.
don't think.
Fucking
Again,
weird.
it's like here's the thing: Teen Titans Go when it's not doing fart. Hold on. Again, sorry for that. It's like yeah, it's like Teen Titans Go, like ignoring the obnoxious humor made for like 5-year-olds, like fart and poop jokes. It's honestly a funny show. It's like some of the jokes they do make are legitimately funny. Like there was this one joke where like they were like this one joke where like they made a jab at DC or something. I don't remember. It was honestly funny. It's like again, it's not the best cartoon, but it's still a good show. And I'm honestly pissed off that people start hating it just because it's different.
I honestly
I
wish
wanna.
people
I
would
wanna.
critique it based on the show itself and not just because of their nostalgia.
I wanna shit on the original Teen Titans just a little bit.
Go ahead.
Um, I I've seen the first season. It was all right. Um, some of the animation cuts were kind of shitty, with like weird, like the movements were like sort of like weirdly paced,
It's like
and the dialogue can get kind of cheesy at times, like almost unbearably cheesy. Um, Also, the sort of blend of Western and animation style, I'm actually fine with that. Although,
it does make it
um,
look unprofessional at times.
yeah, it also looks kind of awkward at times because the animators and storyboarders who work on Teen Titans haven't actually worked on an anime ever. So as a
Mm-hmm.
result, some of the shots look like wannabe anime, and that's not a good feeling.
Yeah.
It's kind of awkward,
I
actually.
believe
I
the
can't
art
really stand.
director of Teen Titans would later go on to work on other shows like Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated and Ben 10 Omniverse, and those shows definitely look a lot better than Teen Titans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
But it's like, yeah,
Or
it's like I honestly wish to like they actually went with the Bruce Tim art style they were gonna go with originally.
yeah. Honestly, even though people say that Hi Puffy and Yumi is bad, I think that series does. I'm not saying that the animation is better. I'm just saying that in terms of the blend between anime style and Western style, I think that series does a somewhat better job than Teen Titans, because Teen Titans, like, some of the shots look really awkward.
yeah, I
I
really
one
hate.
of the reasons,
Sorry.
yeah, one of the reasons why I can't watch it is because of how awkward. And I really don't want to hate Teen Titans. I mean, I don't think I would, but I have a feeling that if I were to watch Teen Titans, I wouldn't like it as much as people do, and I don't really want that because I don't like disliking shows. I don't know. I just kind of feel like I wouldn't like it.
Yeah, I was gonna say like most of the promotional art on Teen Titans merchandise looks like utter garbage.
Can you show me examples of it?
Well, I remember. I guess like I don't know. Like I could probably show you like an action figure of like Robin or Cyborg. This is gonna like take me a few minutes.
It's like again, it's like personal preference. So it's like the OG Teen Titans. It was never that good to begin with, and I'm just gonna say this. It's like honestly, it's like even though I don't like the sometimes stilted look of Teen Titans Go, which honestly, had they went with the more cartoonier artwork that would have been animation friendly originally, it's like that would have been more which from what I've seen, concept art for Teen Titans Go is going to be a lot more aggressive than what we got now, but still, I honestly kind of wish that people would stop saying Teen Titans Go is an absolutely garbage cartoon just because it has a somewhat cartoonish, and I'm pretty sure you guys are going to laugh at me for saying this, it has somewhat of a Looney Tunes vibe to it as opposed to the action stuff, to the serious tone that the original Teen Titans had.
They did an episode that was basically just a Looney Tunes homage.
Exactly. It's like again, it's like I don't know if you guys seen the artwork, the concept art for Teen Titans Go, but I honestly would have loved to see that show animated in that style. But again, I understand because like animation nowadays, it's like incredibly strict and such. But it's like long story
Yeah,
short, and I go ahead.
sorry, I didn't want to. Oh, okay. I wanted to say that sometimes Teen Titans Go can get nicely stylized, and I do remember some episodes where they do have some minor action scenes. Now, Teen Titans Go is not exactly a sort of like Sakuga series. Like, it has a lot of Sakuga moments, not really, but I think that in terms of style, I think that some of them are actually kind of cool,
Mm-hmm.
and I would even argue that some of them are even cooler than Teen Titans. But hey, I'm not saying that the action scenes are better because I don't. I'm saying that in terms of how they're stylized. There are some action scenes that are better stylized than Teen Titans. That's all I'm
Yeah,
saying.
it's
Yeah.
all I could say is like had Teen Titans Go went for some like a blend of like it tried to be like an action cartoon with a blend of comedy and just had the goofier looking art style of it's like in the late 2000s like a lot of action cartoons had like this cartoonish look to it and it's like I think Teen Titans Go could have fitted that way of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just defending Teen Titans Go too much because I'm sick and tired of people praising the OG Teen Titans and constantly sending death threats to people that made Go and such for no reason other than
Yeah.
Honestly,
nostalgia.
I feel like a lot of people were introduced to Teen Titans, and it's probably the first series to like blend comedy and drama to that degree. So people like regard that series and like this sort of like holy grail. When if you watch other series that are like that, you'll
Fuck
realize that
this.
Teen
This is
Titans are
trash.
exactly the best at it.
0 out of 10. Oh, stop it! I'm talking to someone.
Oh my God, Catbit Junior.
This is why I want to move out. But it's like, yeah, I agree with you. It's like people are just unreasonably hating this cartoon just because of the goofier tone. When in reality, it's like, again, it's like Teen Titans was never a good show to begin with. You're all just letting your nostalgia blind you incels.
I just
Go
think it's
watch
really
Teen
funny that
Titans.
we're shitting on Teen Titans.
Teen
Teen
Titans
Titans
fans
Go
rise
is
up.
Teen Titans Go is a good show. Rise of the Ninja Turtles is a good show. Go fucking
I
watch it and
agree.
stop praising these old cartoons just because you love them as a retard child.
Also, while you guys are at it, watch OKKO. It's pretty much everything you wanted Teen Titans Go to be.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty good. I like it.
Yeah.
Give support to these cartoons and it's like just give support to action cartoons having a stylized look to it in general because I honestly am because I'm gonna say this, it's a lot easier than drawing muscles from those '90s superhero cartoons.
I really wanted
Dude,
a fucking Youngblood cartoon.
Youngblood, what's
look,
that?
I
I'm
was
just
ref-
gonna look. I don't really get like there are actually like there are genuinely a lot of people that like love 80s cartoons. What the fuck, dude? Most of them suck. Like
Dang.
they really suck. And it legit surprises me that some people like look at that look they sort of like remember it as a sort of good decade for cartoons when it wasn't. Most of the
This
cartoons there look like shit.
is just because of nostalgia. That's all. It's like the whole thing. It's like my grandparents. I remember my grandfather being. He hated a lot of the cartoons that I was watching on Nickelodeon and such back then. It's like I don't know. Maybe it's because he grew up on stuff from Chuck from like Tex Avery and such, and like he just didn't like the limited look to it. But it's like, yeah, it's like he shit on modern Cartoon Network shit. Well, at the 2000s, those kinds of cartoons, and like praised cartoons that try to be like fluidly animated, like Tom and Jerry and such, when they brought it back for kids WB. But again, I'm sorry if we're going off topic. It's like, yeah, nostalgia is the reason why people are so attached to these things. It's like, yeah, these cartoons are complete garbage. Mario Brothers. But still, it's like we're just gonna let's all be truthful with ourselves. These reboots feel like they had more passion put into it than the stuff you grew up with.
Except the Powerpuff Girls reboot.
Yeah, that doesn't
Yeah,
count.
yeah,
Yeah, that got made for a quick paycheck, I'm sure.
yeah. I got really fucking mad when I saw the Wii. Really mad.
Honestly, I'd probably somewhat agree with your grandpa on liking like the 40s and Golden Age shorts. Well, not because like I think like all the current 90s Nick shows are bad, but just because I think like most of these 90s Nick shows don't hold up well. Stuff like, Cat Dog and Ren and Stimpy. I mean, I
Cat
mean,
Dog was.
when it,
It's weird though. Like my grandpa had it not been avoid Ren and Stimpy.
Although I will say that I like a lot of 2000s cartoons, so I don't fully agree with your grandfather.
Again, it's like nostalgia bias, except I want people of this generation to learn. It's like if we do somehow become parents, we have to be open with what our kids watch and try not to. Because let's just face it, people who have kids that enjoy Teen Titans Go and are preventing them from doing it. You want to know the you want to know the scary thing is? We're doing the same thing our parents did to us when we were children, watching the cartoons they couldn't stand just because they didn't understand it.
Yeah, like my
Yeah.
parents banned me from watching Ren and Stimpy, and someone I'm kind of thankful that they did because like when I tried to like watch some episodes, I was just bored by the pacing and just like I didn't really care for the gross out shit, you know.
Again, it's like we shouldn't ban our kids from watching certain things they enjoy just because we don't understand it. It's like at
Yeah.
worst, we could be repeating the same thing that parents of the '90s did when like Beavis and Butthead, South Park, and The Simpsons came out. Where like we had to drag the creators to court just to add new laws to the FCC and shit.
Yeah. I think what
Yeah,
we
it's
should
fucking
do
The FCC should go to hell.
I think what we should try to do is like judge cartoons based on like or just judge each respective decade based on the quality of crap they were able to produce. Like, I'm going to. We should all judge like the 2000s as equally as we do the 1940s. Just like have an even playing field.
Exactly. We have to keep it open minded. We can't all say, "Oh, this generation had garbage cartoons. My
Yeah,
generation."
and we can't be like your parents who think the 80s Thundercats is good.
Yeah,
Exactly.
we can't be like fucking Mr. Ender to make a whole video of like, yeah, 2000 cartoons suck. To be
Yeah,
fair, that was like 4 years ago, maybe
yeah,
3 years ago. That was really
Rosansky.
stupid.
He, yeah, the 2000s are the best decade. I'm just gonna say this.
Yep.
I mean, I
And
like a lot of 2000s cartoons, so yeah, I might agree with you.
Okay, so I guess is that it for our shitty opinions?
yep,
Yeah.
I cannot wait for an angry cartoon fans to lynch me tomorrow.
No, well, this
Well, I
video is
mean, I
probably
don't.
gonna take like 3 weeks to a month to be uploaded because like our fucking guy Tris, he's pretty lazy. I'm just gonna say it. He's probably too busy fapping to chubby girls.
Yeah. Again, it's
Yeah.
like
I
if you
mean,
can give me a link to you.
I really hope this video gets popular because I want to see everyone's reaction to our opinions on Titans.
I hope it's
Because
Oh
the thing
man.
about Teen, the thing about Teen Titans Go is that I don't think that many people are gonna get angry at us, but I'm pretty sure that people get angry at us if they heard our opinions on Teen Titans. A lot of people hate Teen Titans Go, but a lot of people love Teen Titans way more, and we get pretty upset to hear people shit on it.
yeah.
Yeah,
I wish I
this
could
is
care,
the
but you know how laissez faire I am with these kinds of opinions.
I am
Yeah.
so my reputation is thanks a lot, Jacob.
Well, your reputation was already ruined.
How?
I don't know. I just like saying that.
My reputation is weird because I like drama, but for some reason, Crimson Mayhem, even though he hates drama, he's been in more dramas than me, which is weird.
Oh, of course he has. He's such an attention whore.
I don't get it, man. It should be the other way around. Like I'm the one that's supposed to get involved in drama, not him. It's just really
Again,
weird.
he's like some people in the cartoon and community. Most of them are a bunch of drama, just like scumbags who use others for their own personal need.
Yeah, but
Yeah, unfortunately,
Yeah, but
fucking try fun.
anyway, yeah. So this has been the third episode of Jack's Corner. I think I'm hoping that Tris you actually edit this thing pretty decently this time. I don't know like when this will probably come out like way later. Maybe the second episode will still still probably be unfinished by that point. So yeah, I want to thank Twisted again for coming back, and Catbit, a good friend, even though I make fun of him all the time for agreeing to do this. Even though like his stupid brother had to like fucking interrupt us near the end. What a retard. Next
Yeah, he
time
is.
Next time, I don't know. I got like a bunch of ideas planned for this garbage. I'm hoping someday I can talk about like weird Disney cartoons with certain someone. So
Oh,
yeah,
you want to? Oh, yeah, it's gonna be fun getting you know who on that.
yeah. So yeah,
I'm bleeding blood
this
through
is
my nose.
Jacob, and you can all go die in a hole because this is Jack's corner.
Up yours, Aiden.